The following is an exclusive production of Minutemen Command. The Flagship Pod with your hosts, ESPN personalities Mike Corey and Rene Ingoglia, is on the air. Brought to you by Todd Fritz Roofing, with insight and info from UMass and MAC insiders. From the Command Studios, here are your hosts, Mike and Rene.
Middle of May already, my friend. I know you're like counting down the days. Did you already have it on the calendar? What is it like?
I didn't look at it, so I just know because I work media days. I do the American Athletic Conference media days, and then the Big 12 and SEC usually go first. It's 2 months away to media days, so we're right there, man. Middle of July, and our summers are over.
It's so great because like we finish the season, or whatever, and maybe it's January or after the national championship. You're like, dude, the new season, it's only like 7 months away. Like it's going to be here before you know it.
And so for people that don't know, and I'm sure if you're watching this pod, I'm a retired law enforcement officer. I was a detective. I worked 20 years. So once I retired from that, like broadcasting is my full-time job, but I only do football. Unlike Mike, if you guys were in the sports world, he called a lacrosse game, this great lacrosse game at Syracuse this week. Yeah. Going through Instagram or whatever, you see that Syracuse really like those are the great pipes of Mike Corey. Great finish there in Syracuse. So you guys, all my friends that are play-by-play, you work all year long with just a tiny bit off in the summer when I'm like, I want to get going. So it's it's a different world for me.
Yeah, no, but it is. It's coming up, because you're right, media day, and then this is the middle of May, literally just over 2 months away, and then we're really talking football. So we're looking forward to it, and I'll see you actually. The list comes out Wednesday, so I'll see you tomorrow because I'm coming down for a lacrosse game at Florida, University of Florida in Gainesville. So we'll get to hang out, and I love this. We're continuing on here, 4th week of the pod, and. What did you have on your mind this week? What were you?
A couple of
comments, right?
Yeah, a couple of things from last week's pod. I want to talk about because I didn't get into it with some people on Twitter, but like there was some back and forth, which is great. I love the passion, even if we agree to disagree. I love that. So a couple of things. One, I got to make a correction because last week I said this is going to be my 17th year with ESPN. It's actually my 16th because I can report that I'm signed and sealed. I signed my contract for another 2 years with ESPN. So hopefully it'll be much longer than 2 years, but you're stuck with me for a guaranteed 2 years. So too bad. So yeah, I went back through my contract. So this will be my 16th season with ESPN. I'm getting old, so it's hard to keep track. And then listen, let me just say this. And Mike, if I say anything you disagree with, jump in, but I know I'm not. I know you too well, and we talk too much. Everybody associated with UMass football, with UMass athletics, with Minuteman Command, with our pod, everybody knows we need a new football stadium. There's no disagreement. We need a new football stadium, okay? There were some comments last week when we interviewed super donor Marty Jacobson about winning will help the cause. And so some people kind of came at it on X saying it shouldn't have mattered. The stadium should have been upgraded. We agree. We all agree. When the transition was made for UMass football to go FBS, I agree. All the upgrades should have been made. A new stadium should have been done, the club seats, the whole 9 yards. But guess what, folks? It wasn't, okay? So whoever's controlling the money, the legislature, the board of trustees, the school, university system, it didn't happen. So my point is, no sense bitching about it now because they never upgraded it. Now we look forward. Mm-hmm. And the point that we both made and Marty made about winning is if you want to enhance something, I don't care whatever sport it is, whatever it is in life, when you want to enhance something, if that something you want to enhance is succeeding and doing better, it's helpful. That's all we're saying. And I was thinking about this the other day. And tell me if I'm wrong, Mike. Yeah. If UMass does a 180 this season, wins 10 games, wins the MAC championship, goes to a bowl in Orlando or the Bahamas, you know how many people are going to be jumping on the bandwagon that all of a sudden we're like, oh, I was here the whole time supporting them. Like, all these big wigs probably in Eastern Mass that'll be booking their flight to get on the charter flight to go to the Bahamas or wherever the bowl will be, that will be like, I was there the whole time. Yeah. So that was like our point was if they win, it only helps. And let me say one last thing. I have been, and I keep track of this because, people make comments, I've been to Division I games and the atmosphere, UMass has to fix their atmosphere. Listen, we've had these conversations with Ryan Bamford. They know they're going to do their thing. There's 100, Delaware transitioned, and I think Central Missouri State transitioned to FBS this year. So I want to say the number's 136 this year of FBS. I could be wrong in football. I went back and looked. I have called of those 136 teams. I have called games, and I know you're going to be similar, Mike, even though you haven't looked it up. I have called 104 of those teams. 104 of the 136 I've called. Okay. I have been to over 92 of those schools' stadiums.
Holy cow.
And facilities. Now, granted, some of those facilities are off campus. They're, NFL stadiums. But for the most part, I have seen almost everybody. Okay. So listen, when it comes to facilities and stadiums, I know what goes and I know what doesn't. And the other point I made was, yes, we need a new football stadium. But Warren McGurk Alumni Stadium this season has zero bearing on if this team wins or loses in the MAC this season.
No, that's a great point. No, you're right.
So,
you're right.
Yes, we all want a new stadium, but this year it has no effect if this team wins or loses in the MAC. And that's
no, I agree. I mean, look, it's the culture, right? It's the culture, it's the people, it's the fans. Like, look, you could still pack this stadium, 17, 18,000, whatever. Yes. And wow, that would be an awesome atmosphere. Nobody would be bitching about the stadium then, right? If there was like sold out, right? If it was sold out, okay? Because not everybody has, an unbelievable place. It's like, that's what everybody wants. I'm sure if you pulled half the population of college football, they'd be like, yeah, we need a new stadium. Like, okay. Well, here's an example, though. UConn, they did a little 180 last year, right? Our friends down the street there. What's probably going on in their mind? I mean, they went to a bowl. They turned it right around. You think their fans are like 25,000 supporting? I don't know. I doubt it. Yeah. I mean, it's like.
Well, listen, we see it every year. We go to places that have nice stadiums, and they have a problem putting fans in there, and that's right. That kind of reverts back to where the winning comes from, right?
That's what I'm saying. So I don't care what you have. If you don't have the fans, if we don't have the support, that's what we're trying to drum up here is actual support for this team and get behind them, help them win. Yeah. And it's going to take time. You can't just do 1 year. It's going to take a couple years. And here's the other example I give, and I hate to be like this, and I'm going back 20-something years, but this is like right after you played. Remember, UMass won the national championship in 1998. I distinctively remember, like, I'm a student, okay? I was like, we were psyched. We're like, woo! I went downtown. We're like partying, drinking, whatever with the people. And I'm like, everybody's like, why? What's going on? I'm like, we just won the national championship. Like, half the people didn't even freaking know, dude. Yeah. Like, it was like, are you kidding me? Like, that's a problem. And I hate to say it's still a little bit of a problem now. So, like, we got to find a way and help the cause to get the support. Okay, you're right. Stadium, this, that. Please show up. Please support this team. Let's see what we can do here. And multiple years after another. That was so disappointing to me. You win nobody.
Going back to that 98 championship, though, you just made something go off in my head. It's fascinating because obviously 1998 were, almost 30 years ago now, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, pre-transfer portal, all that stuff.
I know it's FCS. And
think about it, though. Very similar to what's going on today, okay? First-year coach, Mark Whipple. So he takes over the program in 1 year, okay? Takes over the players he had, but he was big. If you remember, he was big in the junior college ranks.
Oh, yeah.
So he had brought in guys, JUCO, which is kind of akin to what's going on in the portal today.
Todd Banks.
He takes a team. I don't know what they were in 97. I think they were like 3-8.
Yeah, under 500.
So they weren't that good.
Right.
And he does a 180 and wins a national championship. So right there, again, I really feel like this team this year in the MAC can do it. And, of course, we've talked about the 180 for us, right, this year. 6 games, baby. 6 games, get to a bowl, and it's going to be glorious for UMass football fans. And like I made the comment many times before, there's going to be a day when the UMass fans bitch about what bowl game they're going to.
Correct.
There's going to be a day when there's a new stadium there and people are with their kids and they're at these great, vendors and they're getting their refreshments and they're going to be like, man, remember when there was food trucks here? Yeah. Now we got these great things. So, like, It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
I'm not bitching this year when we go to the Bahamas Bowl, right? When I could get to go down and go to
any bowl. And obviously I did the Bahamas Bowl for radio last year. So, yeah, it was that's a nice little getaway.
Hey, let's get into like defense here. So we talked offense a little bit before.
Yep.
We had Marty and Brad on last week. We got defensively here now, and the new change with Coach Keyte.
The thing I love about Jared Keyte is he knows Coach Harris-Simiak, and Coach Harris-Simiak's obviously a defensive coach by trade. So Coach Keyte is kind of underneath him, built right in there. He's been with him. He's worked with him before. And he's young and energetic. And that's what I love about that. So in this interview you guys are about to watch from spring weekend, it just gives you a chance, like us, to get to know Coach Jared Keyte, who's going to be calling the defenses for UMass this fall.
Coach, great to meet you, and welcome aboard. Let's get into your backstory from New York and Utica.
Yep, from upstate New York. My parents were Air Force, so I'm an Air Force brat. I was actually born in Honolulu, Hawaii, and we moved up there when I was a year old. So,
nice.
Yep, most of my life in upstate New York.
And now just you and your wife?
Just us, yep, me and Sarah.
How's the move been?
Oh, it's been great. She's settled in. I've spent most of my time here. I'm familiar with the area. I spent some time at Springfield College down the road, so I've been mostly in upstate New York and New England, so I'm excited to be back.
Former quarterback.
That's
so
right.
You know the whole offense, so you can be the defensive coordinator, right?
I tell everybody all the time.
Actually,
my foundation is offense. It gives me a little bit of different perspective.
Yeah.
When I'm watching offenses, and I have a little bit more of a defensive mindset. So I'm excited to be on this side of the ball.
And it's a great point because a lot of great defensive coaches played or coached offense first, and vice versa. I live in Orlando and UCS right there, and I'm friends with a lot of the coaches there. And Scott Frost, everyone thinks about him as quarterback and offense. He played defense in the NFL.
Yep.
So that carryover goes a long way.
Absolutely. I think when you can study the other side of the ball and you have familiarity with it, it certainly helps.
Yep.
How's the rest of your teammates, I say, on the coaching staff? That's just as important, obviously, I think, as recruiting. We talk about it all the time. Yeah, you got to have the players, but you got to have a great staff. Tell me the inside and out of the people that you're working with and Coach H.
Yeah, we have a great staff. Obviously, it starts with Coach Harris-Simiak, and he's done a great job hiring the personnel. But what I really love about our staff is it's great people first. Great fathers, husbands, friends. And certainly great coaches. And we've been able to build a relationship from coach to coach, player to coach. And, I think that resonates with our guys.
You were with Coach Harris-Simiak, 2 years at Rutgers, right? What anywhere else?
Yeah, so we were together at Maine from 2016 to 18.
And that's where you kind of cut your teeth as a defensive coordinator at Maine, correct?
Yeah, so I started off, I was the Nichols coach there and kind of worked my way out special teams in 2018, worked with the safeties, and eventually in 2022, I ended up coordinating the defense.
How do we get the fans and everybody really juiced up and excited about this upcoming season? Okay, we know what's at stake and what has to happen here, but how do we get everybody kind of pumped up about UMass?
Yeah, I think the excitement, it starts with our players, and we have our spring game tomorrow, and it's going to be a great atmosphere. But where it starts is we have a family-built environment, and our guys, we've started with the fundamentals, and we've really taken strides forward, and our kids have bought in. So I think the excitement, it stems obviously from our program, but I think it's going to go throughout the area, and our players are excited. They've bought into everything that we try to put through.
Got to ask you because the fans want to know defensive philosophies, aggressive unit. Give us your thoughts on what you would like your ideal defense to be.
Yeah, we want to be fast, we want to be physical, and we want to be sound. Everybody asks me, are we going to be a zone team, or are we going to be a man team, or are we going to blitz, we're going to cover? We're going to find the best 11 guys, and we're going to do what they do well.
Yeah. What about? And I've asked the other guys this too. Why can this year be different? Why can this be a special year or different than what we've seen for the last decade plus of UMass football?
Yeah, I think it's a refreshing start. And obviously, again, it starts with Coach Harris-Simiak and our staff, and our players have really bought into what we've brought in terms of culture, technique, fundamentals, and ultimately scheme. So, we've taken strides forward just in this brief time, and we have, a long way to go. We're just scratching the surface of what we could be.
And last question, I'm not going to ask specific names, so we don't want any of our players getting stolen, okay? But position group, is one stood out this spring that you've really impressed with?
Oh, that's tough. I can look position to position and find some guys, so it's hard for me to single out one position in particular. I've been really happy with our guys up front. I'm happy with our communication in the back end. We got guys that are running to the ball, so I can really look from position to position and find some guys that I can point out.
All right, Coach. Great to meet you. Looking forward to this season. We'll see you down the line.
Thanks, Coach. Thank you for having me.
Couple R's there, relationships, refreshing start. Those are the things that I'm thinking about. Look, I get it on the field. You got to have the players, but you got to get this back to the UMass family, right? I mean, you know what it was like when you played. I mean, and all the stuff off the field. Sounds like he's going to do that. I like this group. You know what I mean?
Yeah, a couple things. I felt like when we were up there, this is a challenge for coaches and coaching staffs in this era of college football, is having that family feel, right?
Yeah.
Because so many players are coming in from other places, right? So that's why it's important to get them in there and let them buy in. And you always hear the word culture, right? The culture of the head coach. And so I think they're in the right direction. And it felt like it was a team that's been together for years. So that was very encouraging when we were up there. A couple things that Coach Keyte said that I really liked. If you remember back to our interview with Coach Bajakian, the offensive coordinator, when I asked him the position group question, he mentioned offensive line, which I loved. Coach Keyte, after he thought about it a little bit, he went to defensive line. And you know me, Mike, old school, I've said it before. You build teams from the inside out. You start with your interior line play, offensive, defensive line play. You got to have really good interior play, and then you add your pieces. And to me, that's just a good old school philosophy that they're going by. And the other thing he said, which makes so much sense, is, and coaches have problems with this, they're going to find out what their players do best, and that's how they're going to run their defense and or offense. So a lot of coaches have schemes, right? And then they go to a new place and they're going to run that scheme no matter what. And sometimes their players just aren't designed to run that scheme.
Yeah,
they're trying to put a square peg in a round hole, right? And it's disastrous for everybody. The coaches that are good, that are smart, say, okay, I would rather run this scheme. This would rather be my philosophy. But my personnel just isn't set up for that. So I'm going to tweak what I would prefer to do and do this because our players are better suited to do that. And he mentioned it again. He's 34 years old. Good young coach that brings energy and experience, even though at a young age. So I'm excited to see what they do on defense.
Yeah, well, it's going to take a couple games, too, to try to get into it. That's the other thing, too. I know we want to come right out of the gate, and it's Temple. We got to win this game. Look, there's nothing like the game experience. So, he can talk all he wants. We can talk all we want, preseason, yada, yada. Then all of a sudden, all right, what did we witness in game one? What did we witness in game two? Then maybe he decides, like you just said, oh, now I do have to adjust. Oh, I guess we're not going to be able to do exactly what I was looking for here. You know what I mean? It's just, it is a work in progress. I mean, that's why when you watch your teams or your favorite teams throughout the season, they should be better, at the end of the year. And you're like, well, why weren't we doing this before? It's like, dude, don't they build stuff in, right, throughout the whole season, right? When you play.
The biggest thing that I have when I talk to defensive coordinators throughout the years, and you get to the midway point of the season and the defense maybe is underachieving, right? It should have been a better defensive unit. And to a man, every defense coordinator says, it's on me. I've been giving them too much. I'm putting too much on their plate. So they all dial it back and say, we're going to get simpler with our terminology because inherently, especially in athletics, but it goes for any job. So you can insert this into your job. Yep. If you think too much, there's that saying paralysis by analysis. If you think too much, you're not going to perform. And especially for football and defenses, if you're back there thinking too much and you're not going to perform well. So a lot of coaches just try to go easy. And that's why a lot of them, when they start the season, the smart ones don't give them too much. And again, I'm going to harp back to the spring weekend, the spring game, got through it healthy, no surgeries, and very steady in the portal. Didn't lose anyone they were not anticipating losing. They've added a couple pieces. Go to MinutemanCommand.com. You can read all about that. So they're in a really good place to hit the field running when they get to summer camp coming up.
Well, it's a great point what you said, and because I also do a lot of basketball too, so I know a lot of these coaches too, and they go nuts, right? They'll try to get every single play of the opponent out of bounds plays, this and that. Like you just said it. As a player, you're not going to remember and be able to, not even if you do remember, execute, right? Execute everything that you think you know about in the minute of the action. Like you said, if you get too much on your mind, you're not going to perform. Now, I know it's a little bit tougher in football because geez, you know what happens there? You miss a block, you miss a play, you miss a tackle, shit, touchdown, right? You know what I mean? So it's a little more of a tough situation if you screw up an assignment in football as opposed to basketball. Oh, we just gave up a 2 or a 3, big deal. Well, you give a touchdown, it's a little bit more important. So I get it. But you and I, we've had this saying forever at ESPN. It's like, less. Yeah, less is more, but then do less better, right? Do less better. Hey, if I'm going to, let me excel at like 5 things or 3 things actually really good. Or are we going to be mediocre at 12 things? Like,
and that is the flaw. And that when coaches say, hey, I've pulled stuff back, I've slimmed it down for them, that's what they're telling their players. Do better with less. And it's just, again, it's not rocket science. So, I got to say, too, I just noticed, I'm glad you got the memo. We're in uniform this week.
Yeah, we are. We got Well, I've been having this every week, except for week 1 when we were at the interviews. But you got some more stuff than me. I got to get more.
Some stuff in the closet in here.
I got to get more gear.
Flip it around. But, okay, staying on defense, though, and we talked about the portal. Great conversation with Malcolm Greene. Yes. Safety, defensive back, comes from the ACC, Virginia, Clemson. We had a great talk with him. And these are the pieces they've added. And on the back end, which I think are going to be – it's going to be phenomenal and pay dividends. So enjoy this conversation with Malcolm Greene, who's going to be, again, a great piece added to UMass.
Malcolm, great to see you.
Great to see you guys.
Welcome here to Amherst, Massachusetts. I know you've been around. You're from one of my favorite cities in the country. I know people are like, oh, Richmond, Virginia. I love it down there.
Me too.
Yeah. Talk about growing up there in Richmond before we got to the college career.
I think it's different than anywhere, man. You got a lot of guys around the town that just are grinders. Yeah. Definitely for where I'm from, and definitely in my household as well. So it's a tougher place to make it out of, definitely the community that I'm from. But if you put your mind to it, you definitely can. Good community, good fan base, and definitely at my high school, a great coaching staff, just good support staff for you, just a good supporting group for you coming up from where I'm from. So, yeah.
How about the recruiting process? Who was talking to you, schools and offers? Because I know we'll talk real quick about, you're at Virginia and Clemson and, now here. What was that whole process like and the decisions that you had to make and what's been going on in your life?
It's been a journey, man. Like a journey that I've really been in love with, a journey that has taught me a lot. It's taken me to different heights, but also many different lows. And I've just been learning a lot about myself, a lot about my game, but a lot about what I really want out of life and as a person. So it's been great.
It speaks to you, Malcolm. I mean, you come to Amherst with so much experience, great stats at Virginia. You come here, talk about stepping on the field. And we were talking to some other players. This is, even for the UMass fans, this is like a page turn, like a new beginning, right? New coaching staff, a lot of new players going into a new conference. I mean, so talk about this spring. How's it been? And I know, obviously, on the back end, you're obviously the leader of that unit back there.
Yes, sir. It's been amazing, man. The energy. Like, that's one thing that I'll say, the energy. I love the way that the coaching staff, Coach H, Coach Kite, Coach DC, I love their approach to it. Coach Jake Lang, love all their approach to it. I love their humbleness. I love their eagerness as well, just to accept only the best from everybody that's in the room, but also everybody in the building. I love what all of them bring, but I also love the camaraderie within the group. I feel like we got all of our minds, all of our hearts in the right spot, and everybody's headed in a really great direction. I'm excited to see.
No, that's good. I mean, we talk a lot about experience and, how much you've played. And I get it. Sometimes we ask coaches and it's like, yeah, they may be experienced, but they're not experienced in our system or what we're trying to do. You know what I mean? So, yeah, you have played. You've been at some pretty darn good schools. Like, what are some of those things that you're learning there, that you did learn there, that you can maybe take here now, and whether it's helping your teammates or even the coaches, like on plays or things that they've done? I mean, do you offer that kind of assistance? I mean, what's that like, for players who've come from other places to be like, hey, man, we did this pretty well here, and can we start doing that here? Or, what's that like?
So it's a lot of communication, both between me and the defensive coordinator, but also my position coaches as well. Okay. Because at UVA, we run a similar defensive structure, not the exact same, but we run a similar defensive structure. So at my position, it's not too much of anything foreign to me that I haven't really done. All very similar techniques, very similar places that you should have your eyes pre-snap and also post-snap. And we run similar techniques in man-to-man as well. So just communicating with them and also teaching younger guys has been a lot of what's been on my plate recently. Yeah. And also just develop my skill set and understanding of the defense and also football as well. So my football knowledge has increased amazing.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a little bit of time. Like,
Sure.
you know this because we're doing games throughout the whole season, and it's like, all right, yeah, this team should be better in October or November.
Oh, no doubt about
It's
it.
like,
Especially when it's new players and a new coach. Now, the cool thing is around the nation is every school's going through that. Because even if the coaches are still there, new players, these rosters are getting turned over. Talk about, the fact that you were in the ACC for so long, and I know the fans would like to know. Talk about the DB room here as opposed to like what you saw in ACC play, because I'm guessing it's pretty damn good right here too.
It definitely is, man. We got some guys that are hungry. We got some guys that are dogs, man. Love to see it. We got some good size with many different guys. We have athleticism that's unlike I've ever seen with guys like TJ McGee breaking numbers that people have never seen on different force plates and like different heights of jumping, and he's extremely fast. We got guys like Ryan Barnes. He's an extremely great athlete. We got guys like J.C. Clark. He's not the biggest of stature, but he's a dog, and he has the talent to play with anybody. Many different guys. Jay Sean Watkins. We got many different guys that can go out there and play on Saturdays, Tuesdays, whenever.
I like what I'm hearing so
Well,
far.
listen, Temple comes into town. That's the opening game. I have not been more excited for an opening season for UMass football as I am this year.
Yeah. Hey, before we let you go, give us a little background of yourself personally, like things you enjoy doing outside of football, whether besides playing video games and hanging with friends, and then maybe for you, like a career down the road whenever football is over, because I know everybody wants to get to the next level. What are the things you enjoy?
I definitely enjoy skateboarding. I enjoy reading. I enjoy painting, different stuff, going out in nature with my girlfriend, and just being at peace, doing yoga, different stuff like that. But also just taking the time to develop and do self-development things and understanding more about myself and from a psychological aspect and anything that's about improvement, but also enjoying myself. I love it.
Longboard or shortboard?
Shortboard.
All right, shortboard. Mike don't know nothing. Mike does nothing about that.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to learn. Well, we got some good stuff to put on TV now. We got some
It's great meeting you, man.
Yeah.
Good luck this season, brother.
Have a great
Looking
season.
forward to seeing you.
Thanks a lot. All right, Malcolm. Malcolm Greene. I'm excited. Look, he's got great personality. We need that on this team.
The roster is filled with guys like that, and so. Earlier, I talked about you build your teams from the inside out, which I wholeheartedly believe. But you need leadership like that on defense on the back end, because those safeties are the guys that kind of get everyone situated and ready. Another guy he didn't mention, D.D. Snyder, a very experienced MAC player that came to us. He was at Ball State, comes over. A lot of experience on that back end. Now it's just putting the system together, getting these guys to play together. So I'm excited for UMass, not only UMass football, but that UMass defense.
Yeah, like everybody's got like a different story, because it's like if you looked at it initially, just like, oh, he was at Virginia, he was at Clemson, whatever. Like, first off, I guess I would say, they're great players because they're recruited by some top schools, right? Okay, maybe they don't play a lot there because there's obviously a lot of other great players, right? So sometimes you never know. Sometimes it's like, hey, we played a lot. I don't like the situation. I want to go somewhere else. Or, oh, I didn't hardly play at all. Let me go somewhere where I can play. Or I don't know. I mean, I just like to – it's almost like you got to wait to see, right? I mean, because sometimes you get – and I'm not saying he's not a great player. I'm just like, it's hard, right? And where they come from, junior college, like you said, oh, guy got a chip on his shoulder, goes Division II, Division I, or you drop down. Yeah. I don't know. There's so many differences, right? There's like so much that goes on.
I agree with you 100%. But the one thing that I love is when you get a player like Malcolm Greene that was at a Clemson, was at a Virginia, he's coming from a program that it's done when you come from a Power 4 program, they're coming from something that was done right. It just wasn't happenstance. You know what I mean? So he knows, he gets to UMass and he brings that experience with him regardless. And there's a lot of guys like that. So I'm excited. You know what else I'm excited for? We have one set of interviews left in this spring weekend that you and I did, Mike. And the next week's probably my favorite, right? So Joe Castellito is the new special teams coach, and we know special teams has been a big topic of conversation for UMass fans. This guy comes in. He was one of the best special team coaches, not only in the Ivy League last year, but in the nation. His name was a buzz when we were up there just for the amount of schemes that he does. So you're going to see a lot of different things this year. We talked to him about that. And again, You got to get those players. A lot of starters will be playing special teams. So it was fascinating talking to him. So you guys will really enjoy that conversation next week. And, of course, the big Australian punter, Keegan Andrews, right? We get him. Great conversation with him. So I'm excited.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to those two next week. And like you said, I think in this upcoming season, it's like just stay the course. Don't lose games, based on a play or two coming down the stretch, especially in the end of the fourth quarter, overtime, timeout situation. I don't know. I just think it's going to be way better, right? We already talked about this, how many mess ups there was last year, unfortunately, but it's going to be.
We agree. We both talked about this. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say special teams will win 1 or 2 games for UMass this year.
Okay.
Whether it's a block, whether it's a last-second field goal, whether it's a great punt that pins the team down and the defense gets a takeaway, special teams, I think, is going to play an integral part in the UMass turnaround next season. And remember, guys, if you like what you're seeing here, like it, follow us. Go to MinutemenCommand.com, subscribe. It's free. You get this podcast emailed to you. You get all the great stuff that Christian and Zeke and all the guys behind the scenes, the articles, the interviews, all that stuff. It's free. And then, you can always get this at your normal podcast place. And let's also give a shout out to Zeke Altman. Zeke was producing for us today. He's an undergrad at UMass, kind of an intern for Minuteman Command. Christian's on assignment. So Zeke knows more about technology than I'll ever know. So great job today, Zeke.
Exactly. They say, hey, that's easy. You guys will be able to figure it out on your own. Like, no, I don't want to figure it out on my own.
No, we want a producer.
Thanks, Zeke. No, great job. Man, it's fun. And what are we going to do? We're going to have to get some pictures or something when I see you down in Florida next day.
I'll see you tomorrow, buddy.
Yeah, it's going to be a late night, but I don't know. We had that golf match last time. Remember that? What was that? Tiger Woods' little mini golf
we went to Tiger Woods has I want to say Topgolf. It's called Pop Stroke.
Yeah.
We went there. I don't know if we're gonna have time to do that.
Right.
I think we're just gonna go to the Owl House, relax, watch a couple games, and have a little something to eat, and then catch up.
Come up with content for next week's
there
spot.
You go.
Hey, always a lot of fun. We will see you next week. Thanks for watching the Flagship Pod. Have a great week, everyone.
See ya.